time to build some doors. Here's my drawing of the doors and all of the dimensions. This is the face frame. They are 1.5 inch overlay hinges. This is 1.5 inch frame, so there will be a 1/4 inch reveal on the edge of each face frame to make a 1/2 inch gap between each door, each cabinet. There was a lot of measuring. This here is 2 inches. So the width of these rails and stiles is going to be 2 inches. The height is 20 inches. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 at 20 inches. Now these bottom ones here, these are the tricky ones. So it's 16.25 inches from edge of the cabinet door to edge of the cabinet door. Then you subtract 4 inches for these rails here, and then you have to add 1 inch. 1/2 inch here and a 1/2 inch here. Here's my basic arithmetic right there. Hopefully it's right. So my cut list, 4 at 20 inches and 4 at 13.25 inches. Next step is to rip them all to the proper width, and that's actually 2.5 inches, not 2 inches. And the good thing about that is that these pieces here that were originally 13.25, I cut them down to 12.25 to make up for the extra 1/2 inch on either side of the door. So I should let you know that I made a calculation mistake. This gripper is pretty handy. It's working out great. It's real easy to adjust. You don't need tools to set it up. Gotta get my PPE on though, especially for my ears. I don't want to go deaf. 2.5. Everything's right. Let's do this. I spent a good amount of time perfecting my setup blocks, and it was worth it. So we're going to see if it actually works now. Definitely will be upgrading the router and the insert in the future. So one side of all these boards gets a groove cut into it. Just the ends get a tongue cut into them with that other bit. Don't want to mess that up. It's getting a little late in the day, so I'm taking one extra step just to make sure I don't make a mistake. When you get overtired is when you make bad measurements and things come out the wrong size. These ones are all good. Those are the stiles, the vertical ones. These are the rails here. And as you can see, it looks like it's going to line up perfect when I cut the tongue in the ends of all these pieces here. Well, it's a new day. I decided to cut things short last night. I started making mistakes. It's because I was overtired. It just happens at the end of the day when you're making measurements, a lot of measurements. For some reason, you just make them the wrong way. What I got here is this is going to cut the groove in the end of a board. This is a test piece. This is one of my screw-ups from last night. This is one of the reasons I decided to stop working last night. So this is going to be a test piece to cut the groove, to test the fitment into all these over here. You get tear out when you go against the grain or perpendicular to the grain of wood. Like when I ran these through, as you can see, there's absolutely no tear out on the end. Now when you go perpendicular to the grain, this is going to just rip the back half off of it. So I've got scrap wood that's going right behind it, and will get fed through at the same time, just like this. So I don't get the tear out. Since I always write test, just so I don't get them screwed up. You get so many of these boards floating around, you don't know what the heck's what. So this will be a test fitment. Make adjustments up or down as needed. This is the test piece I just cut. This is an actual piece of the door. So I've got most of it fitted together, and it's just loose fit. I haven't squared it up or anything because I still have to cut the panels. And I'm just fitting these together. There it is, just loosely placed together. I just finished doing my measurements to see what size the panels need to be that go in here. And I got 12 1/8 by 15 7/8. 15 plus 1 inch minus 1/8. 15 7/8. So I just reduced the size all the way around by 1/8. Now before I glue all this together, I'm going to pre-sand these panels. They are made out of 1/4 inch MDF. You just want to hit them with 120. There's the two doors. Gonna make some changes to that router table setup. I think the biggest problem is the router. It works good, but every time I adjust it, I have to undo this clamp here and turn it up or down. And as soon as I pop this clamp loose, the motor just totally moves. And it's not a precise precision dial mechanism. Even though it cranks up and down. So I got something coming that's going to replace this whole thing. The whole freaking thing. It's all going. Even this plate's going. I don't even know if I'll be able to use this whole leaf here that I made. Hopefully I can reuse it. If not, I'll have to make a new one. The last part of this section of the cabinet build is to mount the hinges to the door frame.